Hi, I'm Mark McGrath from Financial Edge Group, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 7 key important advantages of superannuation. Tax on contributions. When you put money into superannuation, it's only taxed at 15%. 15% is one of the lowest tax rates you can get in Australia, whereas if you earn that money personally, on average you're probably paying 35% or maybe 40% on tax. So what that means is, say $100, if you kept it yourself, you pay 40% in tax, you only end up with $60 in your bank account. If that same $100 went into your super fund, you only lose $15 in tax, so you've got $85. So you've got much more money there after you paid your tax. Tax on earnings within superannuation is taxed at 15%, and capital gains tax in superannuation is only taxed at 10%. So what that means is you've got more money in there, and then the earnings that it's making, you're not losing as much in tax along the way. Whereas again, if you had it in your own hands, you're losing all those earnings at your marginal tax rates at 20, 30, 40, and potentially sometimes close to 50%. In superannuation, you're only being taxed on that at 15%. Tax on pensions. If we do things the right way, when you get to retirement, ideally the money into pension phase, you're paying no tax on, which is the lowest tax rate we can get. So it's important we do things the right way. Not everybody gets that tax rate, and there's some certain limits, but ideally the majority of your money you should be paying no tax on when you retire, both what it's earning and the amount you're taking out. So I'd see a tax rate at 0 on pensions is ideal. Choice of investments. In superannuation, a lot of people don't know this, but basically you can invest in anything that you can invest in outside of superannuation. So if that's just money in the bank or a term deposit, whether it's buying some direct shares in Australia, some shares overseas, some managed funds, a residential property, a commercial property, and all the kind of things, whether it's gold or Bitcoin or that kind of stuff. Basically, your choice of investments is basically unrestricted in superannuation. Forced savings. So superannuation is the law as it stands in Australia, assuming you work for somebody else, or even sometimes if you work for yourself, your work or your employer is forced to put money in for you. And that's one of the good things about superannuation, is that we're forced to continue to put money aside for ourselves. What that does is it allows the superannuation to keep growing and keep building towards retirement. Compound interest. Compound interest has often been referred to as the 8th wonder of the world, and a lot of people know it as basically earning interest on your interest. So what that means is when you've got money in there, it's earning interest, and then the next year, because you're not paying much tax on it, the interest you've earns you even more interest. Whether that's rental income or dividends from shares or interest on a bank account, the same theory applies, but it allows you years over years to kind of get that snowball effect and earn more income along the way. Government incentives. Along the journey of superannuation, not only do you get some of those tax incentives that I've spoken to you about, but the government offers other ways for you to get more money in your super. Because at the end of the day, they want you to have more money in there, so there's less reliant upon the age pension. So at various stages of your life, and depending on what your income is doing and your balances are doing, you might be eligible for things like the co-contribution or spouse contribution. If you sell a house, you can do some extra, what are called non-concessionals, and pump some extra money into your super. And under special bring forward rules, you can do extra money in there. As you get older, if you downsize your house, you can put some money in under that strategy as well. So there's a few different incentives for you to get extra money into super. And sometimes the government actually gives some extra money into your super as well along the way. So that's the 7 advantages that I highlight when I'm talking to people about retirement. Hopefully you learned some things there. You may have known some of those already, but basically if we can take advantage of as many of those as possible, what it means is more money in your hands in retirement, which is what we all want really. If you want to find out any more about this stuff, jump on our website at www.financialedgegroup.com.au or check us out on different social platforms. We've got lots of info out there in terms of videos and articles to have a read. And if you want to find out even more, contact the office for an appointment.